Every time I hear someone recommend a diet of 1,200 calories, I'm reminded of the Minnesota starvation experiment. In 1945, the University of Minnesota did a study on the long-term effects of starvation. Participants were given a diet of 1,500 calories for 24 weeks. It's important to note that these people were chosen because they were happy and healthy before this study. During the study, they became depressed, socially isolated, obsessed with food, and one subject even cut off 3 of his fingers. And that's just the psychological effects. It also had a huge list of physical problems that it caused too, to things like metabolism and heart rate. Those issues did not go away when the study ended. They had lasting mental and physical effects from this study. Next time someone recommends you eat 1,200 calories, just know that it is not near enough, and it is not for your best interest.
Being in a caloric deficit and taking part in the Minnesota starvation experiment are not the same thing because they involve different levels of restriction and have different purposes. A caloric deficit occurs when an individual consumes fewer calories than they burn, resulting in weight loss. This can be achieved through a variety of methods, such as reducing portion sizes, increasing exercise, or following a specific diet plan. Caloric deficits are often recommended for individuals who are looking to lose weight or improve their health. The Minnesota starvation experiment, on the other hand, was a scientific study conducted in the 1940s to investigate the physical and psychological effects of severe food restriction. The participants in the study were healthy young men who were subjected to a 50% reduction in their calorie intake for a period of 6 months. The purpose of the study was to understand the effects of starvation and to develop strategies for helping individuals recover from it. The participants in the Minnesota starvation experiment experienced a range of physical and psychological symptoms, including extreme weight loss, fatigue, irritability, depression, and obsessive thoughts about food. The study was controversial and raised ethical concerns, but it provided important insights into the effects of starvation and the importance of proper nutrition for overall health. While both caloric deficits and the Minnesota starvation experiment involve a reduction in calorie intake, they differ in their level of restriction and purpose. Caloric deficits are often recommended for individuals looking to lose weight or improve their health, while the Minnesota starvation experiment was a scientific study designed to investigate the effects of severe food restriction. It is important to approach weight loss and dieting with caution and to prioritize proper nutrition and self-care to support overall health and well-being.
Content warning: possible invalidation of body dysmorphia from an actual fat person. So this is like a genuine question. How do I get non-fat people who have body dysmorphia talking about how disgusting they think they look because in their brain they look like me? How do I get them off my For You page? Because I can't deal with this. Like, these videos are so upsetting for me to watch, and I don't know what words I should block. I just need to understand. Like, I need guidance and I need validation.
Body dysmorphia is a psychological condition where individuals have a distorted perception of their body, often leading them to obsess over perceived flaws and defects in their appearance. It can be difficult to understand or relate to someone with body dysmorphia because their perception of their body may be vastly different from reality. In this context, if someone with body dysmorphia is expressing that they believe they have the same body type as you, it can be challenging to hear. You may feel frustrated or confused because you do not see yourself in the same way they do. However, it is important to recognize that their perception is not your reality, and their struggles are valid. On the other hand, individuals with body dysmorphia have every right to use a public platform to discuss their experiences and challenges. Sharing their struggles openly can help raise awareness and reduce the stigma surrounding mental health issues. It is essential to approach these conversations with empathy and understanding. It is possible to acknowledge their struggles while still validating your own experiences and perceptions. By creating a safe and supportive space, You can have a constructive conversation and work towards mutual understanding and growth.
Radical movement that was started by fat and disabled people to spread awareness about their issues and fight for legal protection has now devolved into a movement to make skinny people feel better about themselves while simultaneously shitting on the same people that started this. A lot of you guys really need to think long and hard about why you think looking fat is wrong.
Everyone can take part in the body positivity movement, regardless of their size or shape, because the movement is about promoting self-love, acceptance, and inclusivity. It is about celebrating diversity and challenging harmful societal norms and standards that perpetuate negative body image and discrimination. Body positivity is not about promoting one body type over another or excluding certain groups of people. It is about creating a culture that values and celebrates all bodies, regardless of their size, shape, or appearance. This includes thin bodies, which can also be subject to harmful societal expectations and body shaming. While it is important to recognize that people in larger bodies face unique challenges and discrimination due to their size, this does not mean that thin individuals cannot also experience negative body image and body shaming. Everyone can benefit from the principles of body positivity, which promote self-love, self-care, and respect for all bodies. Regarding the second part of your question, it is not appropriate for fat activists to include marginalized groups in their arguments to make their points seem more valid. It is essential to recognize and respect the unique experiences and challenges faced by different marginalized groups, rather than appropriating their experiences for the sake of an argument. Instead, we should strive to create an inclusive and supportive culture that values and uplifts all marginalized groups, rather than pitting them against each other in arguments. By acknowledging and celebrating diversity and promoting empathy and understanding, we can create a more just and equitable society for all.
You know diets don't work. You know they don't because you yourself just said every time I diet, I gain more back. But you may not understand why that's the case. So let's talk about the efficacy of diets right quick because they don't work and they're bullshit. Sorry. First things first, we have known that diets don't work forever. I mean, forever, okay? In 2007, UCLA published a landmark study that showed at least 1/3 to 2/3 of people who lose weight via diets will gain back more weight than they lost within the first 4 to 5 years. That number skyrockets after 5 years. This research has been reconfirmed multiple times in the past 15 years. In fact, a researcher named Kevin D. Hall in 2016 published research specifically on The Biggest Loser, winners and contestants. You guys remember that piece of shit show. And what he found was that almost all of them weighed close to, more than, or at their starting weight from the show. Now, why is that? Because diets don't work. They're not efficacious. Efficacy is just a fancy way of saying, does this thing produce the intended or desired outcome? They don't work. I always liken this to an asthma treatment. Asthma is a really good thing most people understand. If I went to the FDA with my new asthma treatment and said, okay, it works 10% of the time, but in 5 years, everyone's asthma will be worse. Why would the FDA approve that? Why would they be like, okay, but that's how diets work. They work just like that. They don't work, and then they make you gain all the weight back. Now, why is that? There's a couple of prevailing theories. There's a lot of theories, but one is that if you restrict food, your body's basal metabolic rate, which is just what your body needs in order to survive and thrive, it readjusts itself because it feels like, oh shit, we're going to get less food, so let me adjust myself to survive. Your body's number one goal in life is to survive. And Kevin D. Hall found this in his research with The Biggest Losers, that their BMRs were super duper low even years after getting off the show. So even just being awake, being alive, they weren't burning as many calories as another person the same size as them. Also, there's the thing about survival mode and all that, but there's a lot of different research on that. So instead of thinking about how to lose weight, as a chronic lifelong dieter, I shifted my mindset to how do I repair my relationship with food so this is not on my mind for the rest of my life. And that included me leaning into intuitive eating, realizing I had an eating disorder. I am recovering from BD. And also realizing that not everybody's meant to be thin. Bodies are different. All bodies are different, you guys. So everybody's meant to be and look different. Everybody's valid. And think about your health holistically instead of just a number on the scale.
Dieting can be effective in promoting weight loss, which can have a range of health benefits such as reducing the risk of certain diseases and improving overall quality of life. When an individual follows a diet plan that involves a reduction in calorie intake, they are likely to create a calorie deficit, which means that they are consuming fewer calories than they burn. This deficit can result in weight loss, as the body turns to stored fat for energy. There are many different types of diets that individuals can follow to achieve weight loss. Some popular diets include low-carbohydrate diets, high-protein diets, and intermittent fasting. Each of these diets restricts certain types of foods or macronutrients, such as carbohydrates or fats, with the aim of creating a calorie deficit and promoting weight loss. Research has shown that diets can be effective in promoting weight loss in the short term. For example, a 2019 study published in the International Journal of Obesity found that individuals who followed a low-carbohydrate diet for 6 months experienced greater weight loss and improvements in cardiovascular risk factors compared to individuals who followed a low-fat diet. However, it is important to note that there is often a high rate of weight regain once the individual returns to their usual eating habits. This is because many diets are difficult to maintain in the long term, and the body may respond to weight loss by slowing down the metabolism and increasing hunger signals, making it more difficult to sustain weight loss over time. The success of a diet often depends on a range of factors, including the individual's starting weight, their level of physical activity, their metabolism, and their overall health status. For some individuals, following a specific diet plan may be effective in promoting weight loss, while for others, a more individualized approach may be necessary. Additionally, it is important to approach weight loss and dieting with caution, as extreme or unsustainable diets can have negative effects on physical and mental health. For example, diets that severely restrict calorie intake or eliminate entire food groups can lead to nutrient deficiencies, fatigue, and increased risk of eating disorders. It is important to prioritize a balanced and sustainable approach to nutrition and exercise, rather than relying on fad diets or extreme measures. Long-term lifestyle changes that focus on a balanced and healthy diet, regular physical activity, and self-care are more likely to lead to sustainable weight loss and overall health improvement. In conclusion, while dieting can be effective for weight loss, it is not a one-size-fits-all solution, and the best approach will vary depending on the individual's needs and goals. It is important to approach weight loss and dieting with caution, and to prioritize a balanced and sustainable approach to nutrition and exercise for long-term health improvement.